If cooking is an art, then baking is definitely a science that's been tested and retested for centuries, typically centering around 3 main ingredients: butter, sugar, and eggs.
But whether you're trying to eat a little bit healthier or if you have any dietary restrictions, what we'll call the holy trinity of baking might not work for you. I'm Mia Rigden, nutrition coach, trained chef, and the founder of Rasa.
I'm Jenny Dorsey, professional chef, writer, and artist. And this is Alt Baking Bootcamp,
your crash course in healthier baking. Right, so today's goal is to create a healthier chocolate chip cookie that closely resembles the classic, but ups the healthy ante a little. We're gonna do this by cutting out the eggs, the butter, the white sugar, and the white flour. So whether you're trying to eat a little healthier, you're vegan, or you have some dietary restrictions, this recipe is for you. First things first, we're gonna preheat the oven to 375 degrees and line a baking sheet with parchment paper, which we've already prepared. Next, we're going to make our flax egg. So for the flax eggs, we'll combine 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed with 6 tablespoons of warm water and give it a good stir. You'll want to set this aside for about 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, so let's get started on our dry ingredients. In a medium mixing bowl, we're gonna add 2 cups of almond flour, a half cup of coconut flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. You're gonna mix that thoroughly to combine and make sure there are no lumps.
Almond and coconut flour are both gluten and grain-free, which make them great alternatives to white flour for anyone with gluten or grain sensitivities. They also won't spike your blood sugar like white flour will. And almond flour in particular is a good source of fiber, which helps promote fullness and is good for digestion.
Coconut flour is made from dried coconut meat, and it has a slightly drying effect on the baked good, so you can't substitute it one for one with all-purpose flour. It also is gluten-free, so it doesn't form that matrix structure, which traps the air and forms that softness in the cookie. We counterbalance this by using coconut flour and almond flour. Almond flour is not the same as almond meal. It's a little fattier and adds a nice tenderness to baked goods, so using a mix of them really gives you that soft, moist cookie we're looking for.
In a separate mixing bowl, we're going to combine the wet ingredients, starting with 1 cup of coconut oil. You want to make sure that it's soft, but not fully liquid. If you keep your coconut oil at room temperature, it'll probably look just like this.
Coconut oil is squeezed from the meat of green coconuts. When refined, it has no coconut taste. When unrefined, or virgin, it has a light coconut taste. It doesn't have the same water content as butter because coconut oil is pure fat. So when making a recipe with it, you'll have to add back some of that moisture somehow. For this recipe, we find that in the water for the flax egg.
So this recipe has about half of the sugar as the classic, and we're also using coconut sugar instead of white sugar. I find that when you start eating lower sugar foods, you don't need as much sweetness to satisfy your sweet tooth. I really like to bake with coconut sugar because in addition to its signature sweetness, it's also full of antioxidants, minerals, and inulin, which is a prebiotic. That's food for the good bacteria in our gut.
Coconut sugar is made from the dried sap of the flower of the coconut palm tree. It tastes less like white sugar and a little bit more like brown sugar. It also has the same slightly drying quality as coconut flour, so again, moisture is key here.
We're gonna add coconut sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and our flax egg. Eggs are used as a binding agent in cookies. While eggs are perfectly healthy for most, egg intolerances are common. So to make these cookies vegan and egg-free, we're gonna use a flax egg instead. That is just a mixture of ground flax seeds with water. Flax has the added benefit of being fiber-rich.
Eggs are also leaveners in recipes, with its moisture creating steam and allowing the cookies to rise. The flax egg also adds that moisture back in with the use of water and has some fat as well.
So now we're gonna stir all of this together to combine and get our KitchenAid going. You can always use a whisk or a handheld mixer if you don't have a KitchenAid. So now we're gonna mix the dry ingredients in with the wet.
For the best chocolate chip cookies, you'll want to use high quality chocolate. We always use semi-sweet vegan chocolate chips, even when we're not baking a vegan recipe. 1 cup of chocolate chips for every 1 cup of flour is a good ratio to start. This ensures there's plenty of chocolate without overtaking the texture of the cookie.
Just make sure to check the labels to make sure there isn't any milk in there. Now it's time to make our cookies. The best part about making vegan chocolate chip cookies is that you can eat the dough, because who doesn't love the dough? This is also great for kids because you don't want them eating raw eggs. I like to use an ice cream scoop just to make sure that all the cookies are about the same size. Sneak some dough. I like to just use my hands to form them into little discs like hockey pucks.
They're so cute. If you want to make this dough ahead of time, you can always freeze it and use it for later.
So the last thing we want to do is sprinkle a little Maldon sea salt on top. Adding a little sea salt is going to help accentuate some of the sweetness. This is called flavor layering, when we use complementary flavors in the same dish, like sweet and salty. It's pleasurable to our brain because we're able to get a taste of both without overwhelming too much of one flavor. This allows you to eat more of the carbohydrates and sodium that your body craves without getting sick of it. All right, should we put them in the oven?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna set the timer for 15 minutes and we're gonna check close to the end to see if they're done. When they're finished, they should be golden brown, still a little springy on the top, and darker around the edges.
Now we wait.
Now we eat the dough. Cookies are ready.
Excellent.
Should we check?
Yes.
Here we go. You want to wait a couple minutes before taking them off to the tray so that they don't fall apart. Cooling rack, just to cool them down a bit before we eat them. Should we try them?
Yeah. It's still really nice and soft. You get lots of chocolate chips, and it's got a little salt on top, so you get that salt-sweet contrast. Compared to regular cookie, it does take a little bit more almondy, a little coconutty, but I don't think you'll mind.
I think we nailed it.
Thanks for watching Alt Baking Bootcamp. What do you want us to make next?
Comment.
Be sure to subscribe to Well+Good's YouTube channel for more episodes of Alt Baking Bootcamp.